and this is me pedaling it up with no power whatsoever. But I'm quickly getting tired. You hear that? It's knocking. Ah, sorry, I didn't know there was a car behind. Have they followed me? This is the Engwe L20 SE. Ooh. So not the Engwe L20 that was my favourite e-bike ever, but the SE version. What does SE stand for though? Usually special edition. So in this video we'll be finding out what's special about this that marks it out from the original L20, and is it worth getting this instead or as an alternative. And straight away we're opening with the throttle only speed test. Now this does come locked to a UK legal 15.5, but we have unlocked it. Quick Google tells you how, and it looks like I'm getting 18.8 miles an hour, 19 miles an hour. I am heavy, 100 kilograms, maybe you'll get more. Straight away though, just by looking at it, it's not the mean BMX handlebar type bike its brother is, or sister. It is different, it's foldable. It's got foldable handlebars which don't look as cool. It's a different kind of bike. The tyres aren't 4-inch fat tyres, they're 3-inch tyres. Still fairly thick, just not what you'd call fat tyres. Just like the original one, it's got a front basket, but this time it's an actual basket. It's more usable. The other one was like a rack thing, you could strap stuff to it, but now we've actually got a basket with sides, so that's cool. It's got big holes though, so you couldn't just put a load of eggs in it. You'd need lining. It's got a rear rack just like before. I've actually got a bottle holder this time. I think you could have had one last time as well, but I just didn't have one. It's got all the usual stuff, similar things like a bell. Nice. It's got a nice colour Engwe screen, which I think that's better than before actually. It's a really nice screen, this is. Very easy to see. The gears are the same, Shimano, Tawny. The hand grips are similar, I believe. You get the metal mud guards, adjustable front suspension, no rear suspension just like before, but you do get a shock absorbing seat saddle stem on this one. You didn't get that before, and I've just gone over some potholes back there and it did feel all right. So basically on the surface it looks like a milder version of the original L20, maybe even more useful because of the front basket. Now the motor isn't as strong as the original. The original, they call it 250, but it was definitely a lockdown 750 motor. In terms of torque, the original was 50 Newton meters and it got up Sandy Lane. This one's 38 Newton meters, and just on my journey to Sandy Lane, and we're nearly there, I don't believe it's going to get up. 3, 2, 1, go! Now it's worth noting that before the bike is unlocked, the throttle does work, but only takes you to 6 kilometers per hour, which I think is a good idea. Even if you're not allowed to throttle properly, it's handy to get a burst of power at the lights. But I believe it's like more of a walk mode and isn't very powerful at all, so it's not going to really do anything for you. But now we've unlocked it, it fully works, and we are stalling here, and it looks like this bike is about to die at... I'm doing a new thing now. Once it drops under 3 miles an hour, yeah, there we go, the fat tree. However, like I've said before, when you start pedaling, it's actually not too bad. So this is me pedaling up the hill in full power. Now there's actually shallowing out, but I'm just going to take off the power, and this is me pedaling it up with no power whatsoever. I mean, I've got a bit of energy because I've been under power, but I'm quickly getting tired, so I'm going to put the power back on. Pedal assist kicks back in. It's a standard cadence sensor, so not as fast as the L20, not as torquey as the L20. Similar weight, 38 kilograms. Similar load capacity, 120 kilograms. So it's still useful. Range, they reckon anywhere from 50 kilometers to 140 kilometers. Now 140 kilometers is pedaling, low level assist, basically you doing all the work. That's a long way. 50 kilometers is electric mode. Size of the battery is technically a smaller battery because the Engwe L20 normal is a 48 volt battery, 13 amp hour, and this one is a 15.6 amp hour battery, which seems bigger, but it's only 36 volts. But the other one's bigger. And the L20 isn't known for its big battery. Now, specs are specs, and at the moment this bike's just living up to its specs. It's moving along as I would expect a bike with this specs to go. However, there are a few things that I'm not so keen on. One being the brakes. When you get an e-bike, one of the things you don't want to have happen is you don't want things to go wrong when you're putting it together. And this bike had the issue that both front and rear discs were rubbing, so I had to adjust them. The front one, absolutely fine. The back one really struggled. No matter how I adjusted it, it would rub. And the only way I could get it to not rub is to loosen the cable. They're cable disc brakes, not hydraulic. And that meant it wasn't very good. So I'm going to show you what the back brake is like now. Oh, and also the cadence sensor takes ages to kick in. Like, I feel like I went round about 3 rotations then. But here, look, this back brake, I can do it now. There's cars behind me, but it don't matter. Do you know why it don't matter? It don't do anything. And then it takes ages to get going again. So obviously when you pull the brakes on an e-bike, it cuts the power. So if I pull the brake now, it cuts the power, and it's now the power comes back. It did have spare pads in the box, so it might be worth checking if you could change the pads. And while we're on the subject, let's see what came in the box and how it went together. In the box we've got pedals, a 3 amp charger, a manual, a water bottle and holder, some spares, tools, zip ties, and the nice cage. It's like an e-bike hamper. The box was a pretty standard medium-sized box and was well packed, as you'd expect. The whole bike went together relatively easy, but the brake disc was extremely annoying. It is worth remembering that any mail-order bike could come with a problem like this, and I had the same problem with a bike I ordered from Halfords a while back. I could have just been unlucky, so if anyone listening to this has bought an L20 SE, did you have any similar problems with brake rub? Please do let us know in the comments. Apparently, I've done 4 miles. And I am down to 3 bars. 3. So this bike's not a fan of me. This hill isn't much of a hill, but it's making the bike go 13 miles an hour. And I'm helping. It does not like it at all. The battery is quite big, it's on the back. It comes out really easy. So while I'm going up this hill, let's just see how the bike folds and all that, and how the battery comes out. Now, I actually really like the folding pedals because all you do is you pull these little bits of metal and they calmly fold down. Pull the lever, twist it in. It actually folds up quite nicely considering there's a big basket. Same with that bit, pull that. There we go, folded down. Battery, pull that forward, unlock that, comes out. Put it in the runner. Lock it in again. Without the key it won't turn on. Now the key's in and twisted, it turns on. Top level, I reckon 6'4". This is probably how I should ride it actually. Lowest, that's like a cruising height for me. Because of the suspension saddle, it makes it hard for people who are short, but I reckon you'd be alright on this if you're like 5'4", 5'5" maybe. I've probably come across a bit negative so far in this review. This bike gave me a bad first impression. I really liked the normal L20. And when I first saw this, and to be fair, I think I saw this about a year ago, I wasn't impressed by the way it looked. I thought it looked like a bad dream version of the L20. It just doesn't look as cool. The basket, even though it's a bit more serviceable, doesn't look as good. The other one in green, it gave it almost like a military look. And this one in green, I just didn't like it at all. I do like it a bit more in white and black. I've seen it in black and that looks pretty decent. But I think the biggest problem this bike has is that I love the L20 that much. Because when you just take it on its own, it has got a lot of nice things. The hand grips are very comfortable. The bell, whilst not Engwe's best bell, is alright. The screen, really nice. Basket, better than the other L20. Front suspension, nice and adjustable. But when I was putting it together, the first thing I had to deal with was the rubbing disc brakes. So again, I'm like, And by Best Gear, who are selling this bike, who are the ones who wanted me to review, really wanted me to review this bike. And it's not a bad bike. A lot of people, because my L20 video was probably my most successful review video, and there's a lot of people on there who've got this bike, and there's a lot of people on there who say we really love the L20 SE. Let us know in the comments if you've got the SE and you actually really like it. Another interesting thing about this bike is the suspension at the front, because the way the light is, if you use that front suspension, can you hear that? It's knocking. Ah. Sorry, I didn't know there's a car behind. Have they followed me? I think they have. So let's have a look at that suspension. So basically, we've got a light down there. It's bent now because this suspension knocks it over. It's hammering it. It's proper hammering it down. It's like, no, I'm dying. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lock the suspension, put the light back up. There you go. So with the suspension causing the basket to hit the light, that is one of three things that I really didn't like about this bike. The bike has a lot going for it, but those three things are really cause for concern. Now let's just remind ourselves of the other two. So let's just check that cadence. Let's pretend I've accidentally left it in top gear. I'm at the lights, I've got no throttle. How long is it going to take us to go? So, oh, it's gone green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. 5 whole seconds. 5 before it kicks in. That is mad. So, suspension, cadence sensor time to kick in, unadjusted brakes. You can't assume people buying a bike can just adjust stuff. No matter how easy people out there who work on bikes think it is, it needs to come adjusted properly. Let's do a proper brake test. So I'm going 16 miles an hour at this tree. Oh no, that is not great. I mean, I've seen worse, but 16 miles an hour should be a lot closer than that. But it is step through. I think I forgot then. So you can step through, step through, step through. That's nice. People might like that. I've done 6 miles. I'm still on 3 bars, to be fair. And sometimes with the voltage sag of batteries, it kind of, under extreme acceleration and me unlocking the bike and me being heavy, it does kind of push it down a few bars, and then it kind of settles, and it's almost like the second half of the battery is better than the first half of the battery. But if you're buying this hoping to do a journey of about 20 miles, you could do that easy, especially if you're going to pedal. If you're going to pedal, you could do a lot more than that. If you're going to be lazy and you've got a 20-mile journey and you're not going to unlock it, definitely be all right. Might not get back though. I think the biggest thing that might make it worth getting this bike is the price. And if this was, let's say, £300 cheaper, and I honestly have no idea how much this is. If it was £300 cheaper than the other one, I think it would be worth a look, especially if you're not that bothered about going quick. because remember, I have unlocked this bike and that does kill the range. If this bike was just running at its intended 15.5, it would last a lot longer. So, cut to voiceover. Let's talk about the price. So at Buy Best Gear, the Engwe L20 SE is currently listed at £799, but with my code BBGEVRC you can get 2% off, which brings the bike down to £783. The standard L20 is currently £949. Using the code Engwe L20 you can get £50, bringing the bike down to £899. So about £116 more expensive. So the question is it worth paying that extra money for BMX style handlebars, fat tyres? Those are a preference, by the way, not necessarily better. More range, more torque, more power, snappier cadence sensor. You will lose foldability and a colour screen. The brakes may not be an issue for you, or you may get unlucky and have that issue with the standard L20. The basket hitting the light is really annoying, but looking at pictures of the L20 SE on the website, I now believe the light was actually put on the bracket backwards, and the bracket is now meant to point downwards instead of upwards. So when it's downwards, it's going to be a bit lower, so the basket shouldn't hit it. So hopefully that'll sort it out. I think you know which bike I would choose, but please let us know in the comments which bike you would go for, taking price into account. You might actually need a bike like this that folds. Do let us know. So yeah, this has been the Engwe L20 SE. We do have links in the description if you want to use them to purchase this bike. I'd appreciate it. Anyway, if you enjoyed that video, don't forget to leave us a thumbs up, or if it helped. If you didn't like it at all, or I've just said naughty things about your bike, give us a thumbs down. And until next time, thanks for watching. Ride safe.